Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Nomads World Weekly Lecture. I'm Becca, and I'll be your host. And today I'm speaking with Sofia, who is a life and business coach. So welcome, Sofia. Just want to start with saying, where are you from and where are you calling in from?
So I'm originally Greek. So I grew up in Athens, Greece, but I have been living abroad for a while. I moved to London in 2014. I lived there for 2 years. And then I got based in Amsterdam for 4.5 years. But right now I'm in Mexico. So right now I am in Isla Mujeres. Is it my connection that is not that good? Did you lose me for a second?
Yeah, I don't know. Mine just, I think that was actually me that went away. So I do apologize for that.
Oh, no worries. I'm just like, I was worried that is my connection. So basically, I'm right now in Mexico, in Isla Mujeres. So I have been in Mexico for the past 2 months. Yeah, I'm very excited because it's my first time like in Mexico. And I'm working remotely as much as I can. So I'm escaping the lockdown. I'm escaping, things are quite rough in Europe at the moment. And I'm working from here.
Nice. Okay, so let's get started with so I had a look over your website and had a look at what you do, and it's really interesting. So let's get started with, if you can tell everyone a little bit about what your business is and what you actually do.
Sounds good.
Sophia, I think, can I ask you something? There's a lot of background chatter in your room. Is that correct, or is it somewhere else?
So I'm alone here. So
okay. So it's
maybe as I wanted to say as well. No, if I mute, I don't know. Is it like from Becca, the background noise? Yeah, now it's gone.
That's better.
It could possibly be some in the co-working space.
Yes, if you can use headphones, maybe Becca, it would be like easier, or just mute.
Yeah, I think
because there is a lot of background noise.
Yeah, I apologize for that. Sorry. It's what we get with a co-working space, I guess. Okay, so let's start again. I'll pause. I'll mute myself after every question, so then the audience can hear. I'll just double check quickly if I can actually do that.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's better every time you mute it's gone, so that's great.
Okay, wonderful. These are the digital nomad trials and tribulations, I guess. Okay, so let's go back to about this and what you do.
Yes. So basically, you hear a lot of coaching. There is so much out there at the moment. In fact, I have been coaching for quite a few years. I graduated from psychology in Athens, and then I moved to London to do my master's in executive coaching. So it was a master's degree in coaching business leaders, career coaching, etc. So back then, I didn't really know what coaching is, to be honest. But when I was looking like to up level like my education, I discovered that, and I thought, okay, that sounds pretty amazing. I anyways wanted to be in an area that I help others, so I was looking into counseling, but coaching seemed like the right thing to do. I also have a sports background, so the idea of having a coach in my life since a very young age has helped me like greatly in terms of like setting goals and just going for it. So I did my master's in coaching, and I did the postgraduate diploma in HR because I wanted to combine people and business. And I moved back to Greece, where I started like my corporate life, joined a business. Things were moving, but not in the direction that I wanted. Growth was not that great. But there I discovered that I really fancy business. And I moved to Amsterdam to do an MBA in international management. And then I got into the tech scene, so tech startups and scale-ups. And I started like working in the people area, so anything related to people, from like recruitment, onboarding, leadership development, etc. And then I transitioned to a business partner, where I really got to put my coaching skills into practice and coaching managers, etc. So I grew while being in Amsterdam. The business scene is great. So a lot of like opportunities and a lot of trust. So I joined like another tech startup as head of people, so setting up anything related to the people of the business, and also doing some business strategy. And I decided to also, okay, now I feel ready as well after all these years to start my own business. And I started like my life and business coaching gig. I have people globally, so I work with people like internationally. Funny enough, I meet also a lot of people that I work with during my trips, but a lot of my clients come also from companies, because I have quite a presence in like the Amsterdam and like global scene. So people know me, businesses know me, and reach out for coaching and employee development. My area of coaching, I say that coaching is a skill that's, if you own it, you can coach pretty much on anything. So I don't like sometimes the labels of like, oh, what type of coach you are. They're really, really helpful, because they give direction to people that they need the coaching. So if it's like mindset coaching or relationship coaching, but I do feel comfortable with coaching in different levels. And of course, it all begins by the interest from the side of the person. Sometimes people come because they want life coaching or because they want business coaching, but because we are like one and everything is interconnected, you pretty much end up getting coached on a different level. But you chose that because of you saw, oh, life coach was appealing to me, or career coaching, I want to do career coaching. But through career coaching, you end up becoming more confident, or like knowing what you want, etc. in life. So that was like, in a nutshell, my coaching journey. I'm really passionate to today about like self-development. I'm working on myself daily. So I like to, like, what I preach to also implement. I'm my own guinea pig. And I do have a coach myself. So 3.5 years back, I joined a leadership coaching program through the company I was working for. And even though I was a coach, I got to experience it from the other like seats and getting coached. And really, even though I did feel that my life was going good and there was progress, that was the point that I could identify all the limitations and really say, okay, Sofia, now you're like ready to rock it.
Yeah, so that sounds like a really interesting journey. You've kind of traveled, I guess, whilst you were studying and deciding what you want to do with your skills. So I guess for you, like, when did you first kind of, I guess, come across the concept of being a digital nomad and kind of the ability to work kind of from everywhere and have that kind of freelance business? Like, when did that start for you?
So I love the question, because as Sofia, like, I love traveling since I was very young. And because of my sports team, I got to compete like internationally. So when we had the European or World Championship, I used to travel. So I think I had that, that fire. And then when I moved to Amsterdam and I got involved with the tech scene, I experienced a new way of working. So until then, because also when I was working during my studies, I had to be like present. And also there is like this, you have to be there to be working, also in the Greek working culture. When I moved to Amsterdam, one of the tech scale-ups I was working for had something called remote week. So way before COVID, what the company has decided, we were shutting down all our offices, and everyone had to work from somewhere in the world. So that was I think my first digital nomad experience, because I was joining the remote week. So I took my laptop. 1 year I went to London, second year I went to Croatia. And then I thought, wow, I actually love that. And I was on holidays in Mallorca, 2019, and I'm like sitting on the beach, and I'm just thinking, why can't I work from here? Like, this is the life that I want. I like warm weather. I like experiencing new countries, new cultures. So I took the decision to like start traveling and working remotely as much as I can, of course, with my base being Amsterdam. I have these, like, one of my values is freedom. So I always want to be part of organizations that there is trust. So they know that Sofia is performing her work even if she's not in the office. And then I started like my first like remote work trips, and I worked from Malta for a month, summer 2020. I worked from Italy. I worked from Switzerland. And I gradually started building on that. And I've decided that I want to start working remotely for longer periods of time. And then, because of the nature of my work, I also wanted to have impact globally as a coach. So online is the best way. Of course, I still enjoy doing things in person, and whenever I have the chance, I do that. But the essence of it is that, okay, I'm grabbing my laptop and I'm leaving Europe for now for the next 5 to 6 months, and I'm going to be, yeah, in Mexico and Southern America, South America. So that was like my first idea back then when I started working with tech companies, and I gradually built it with like more time, different locations, experimenting, etc.
So is your business set in Amsterdam, and then you work as a freelance coach just wherever you are? Like, is most of your work done remotely rather than necessarily traveling to a place and physically working with someone there?
Yes, I would say that 95% of my work is done remotely. I do run some leadership trainings, and I have like some business like consulting projects that I visit some of my clients and meeting with the team there. But in principle, my majority of my work is online. Legally, my business is set up in the Netherlands.
And
So,
so when
mhm.
you, I guess, oh, sorry, go for it. I think
Oh,
my
no worries.
internet was a bit
So
delayed.
yes, so like the I have created like my business in the Netherlands, so legally the setup is there, but I'm also like being like an entrepreneur, like I'm learning more. And because I lived in the Netherlands for a while, and I have a lot of like knowledge when it comes to employment law, contracting, and anything related to that, it was like for me easy to start from there. But I'm also looking into opportunities of expanding in different areas and locations. But the impact is global. So no matter where your business is set up, you can have pretty much clients everywhere.
I think something kind of interesting on that as well, like choosing where to set up as a business, is a lot of remote workers, unless you, well, when you're looking to start your own business, it's quite common that other people will work other jobs whilst they're setting up their own personal business. How did you begin? Like, did you kind of make the decision one day that you were going to, quit your work and then pursue your own kind of like making your own coaching business? Or did you keep some employed work going whilst you were setting up? Like, was there a transition stage?
So that's also a great question. Just to start from, like, for people looking into setting up their own businesses, there are a lot of questions that you need to answer, right? Because it's like the legal part, it's the tax part, is how do you want to scale, where are your contacts, who can help you with, etc. So for me, it would only make sense that I would start in the Netherlands, because my ties with Greece, of course, my family is there, but I've moved my tax residence in the Netherlands, so all my activity is there to start with. And also I have a better understanding of what's happening. To answer the question of how the transition happened, I wanted to do that, but of course expenses are running, and you know that you need like a buffer time until your business starts running. But I did not wait. I said, okay, I'm just gonna go register my business. Sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to have like, I'm setting goals, I'm having a plan, but what I did, I just created my business. I started setting up my programs in parallel of my full-time work. I knew that I had also a deadline for myself to be employed full-time and then have my business, like just focus on that, because I knew that, yeah, it's practically impossible to just like run both full-time. And actually, it's a funny story because sometimes, you know, when universe pushes you towards something, even though your deadline is different. So I was working like as an HR leader in that company, and yeah, one day I received a phone call that redundancies are happening. So pretty much 70% of the company needs to be out, including myself. So pretty much like, you know, getting fired while firing everyone. So that was like the point that I'm like, okay, this is, you have like 6 months to wrap up here, and then you just focus on your business. It's a risk, and especially when you know that your expenses are running, I'm supporting fully myself, and but you have to have trust. And a lot of opportunities came my way for full-time work, but I did not take them because I thought, okay, like my focus is different, my mission is different, my vision is different. So this is what I'm going to do. Worst case scenario, if some of the months they don't go well, you can just get a job, right? But to be, I'm happy because my credibility as a coach and my experience, it has already been built. So I just need to work on the details, and some of the details you are working on the go, like your website and your programs, etc. So sometimes there is no perfect moment, so you shouldn't be waiting for that moment that all the circumstances are going to be ideal to go forward with your business. You just like have to like decide it and go for it.
And what would you say, because I think that's like, it's a really important thing to kind of discuss when you're setting up a freelance kind of business, or, you know, starting something new. What would you say, like for you setting up a business in the Netherlands, were the biggest challenges, or the biggest challenges that you've faced, I guess, with the concept of like remote work?
So I haven't really been facing any challenges to today to set up the business, in terms of, let's say, all the parts of like registering and creating. For me, it has to do, my personal challenge comes to, there is a point that you realize that you cannot be doing everything by yourself. I had few challenges with my website. I hired some help. It didn't work out being the way it is. So it's about understanding your needs and getting the right help. Because a business, and it can be you, just a freelance business, can be like one person that is taking care of many areas. But if you want to scale, if you want to grow, you need to identify what are the gaps in your practice and how can you get that.
Yeah, and I guess kind of leading on from that, because I think there's a lot of, I guess you set up all the ins and outs, and that probably adds to your coaching. Going coaching, can you tell us, what does the session look like?
How, if I hear you correctly, because there was like the voice was breaking, if I can describe a coaching session. So I generally have a lot of tools, a lot of coaching models, a lot of techniques that provide certain structure in my session. So it really depends on what is the coaching on. If, let's say, we're having a career coaching session, I have a really nice workbook that we're going through my coaches, and we identify certain areas that we will be working on. I usually have some pre-work that I send to the people to either read through and complete, so I can also get an idea. And then we set the goal of the session, or the goals of the session, the areas that we're going to be working on. I really love icebreakers, and also because I work a lot with habit creation and habit building, because if you want to change your life. You really need to change the way that you're thinking, and habits are important. I work a lot with my clients with identifying things that they're proud of. It can only take, I don't know, 3 minutes to just, if I ask also everyone in this call to like type, what are you proud of today for yourself? Just like takes 1 second, and it gives so much value. And then I create a lot of exercises. So depending on the flow and depending on the needs of the coachee, there is like confidence or relationships or procrastination, which seem to be such a like topic for my clients. 2021, everyone's like, oh, I'm not focused, I'm not motivated, I procrastinate. So a lot of exercises. And I also give a lot of homework, because working with me is just like, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10%. I give you structure, I give you the tools. But if you leave our session and do nothing, probably nothing is going to change.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. It needs to be a two-way thing. You can only give them so much, and they need to also do stuff to kind of show they're committed to.
Oh, the majority of the work is
Yeah.
done on the other side.
Would you say that digital are a business person to work with? Do you have any?
I think I cannot hear you very clearly. Maybe if you turn off your camera, it will help with the,
Okay.
now I can see you. Yes, now I can hear you again.
Yeah, okay. I think it's my internet, it's a bit in and out. So yeah, would you say this that working with digital nomads is a unique like type of business to work with, like working with remote businesses? And if so, do you have any special approaches for your coaching, well, like when coaching remote workers?
So
Did that
that's a
work?
great question. Yes, that's a great question, because of course, every person is different, every business is different. And I have experience with working with like physical businesses, but a lot of business happens online nowadays anyways, because of regulations. But working with a digital nomad, it's something that I usually enjoy so much, because some of our values are similar. Like I have a lot of freedom in my business and flexibility, and you have to take into consideration so many areas, like where the business happens, how do they want to scale, what are the time zones, how do they take care of themselves? Because coaching as well has to do with like creating a lifestyle that really supports you to be that entrepreneur, that winner. And I see that a lot with like people working remotely because of the constant changes. Today I'm in Mexico, tomorrow I'm going to be in Costa Rica, then I'm moving to Sweden and it's cold. Like, how do they take care of themselves? But generally, it all ties to the foundations of that they want to create a life of their dreams. But sometimes it's like we all feel that we don't know how to take the next step, etc. And there is so much happening in the online business world, and there is so much that it's really important to identify what are you really, really good at, really passionate about, what can bring you that money in, and how can you activate that in order to have that return of investment. So these are like some things that I'm working also with digital nomads, and you see that sometimes a physical business runs way differently than someone that is far away from everyone, and yeah, they're facing their own challenges.
Would you say that the majority of your clients are remote workers?
So let me think. A lot of, actually it's a combination, but even like for my clients they're not at the moment, I would say, I cannot think of someone. I think maybe for a few people that they're actually physically going to their business. So I would say, yeah, I never put that into perspective, but some of them, in other cases, they would have to go to like physically, but majority of business happens online. And I have a lot of like clients also in the marketing area, arts area, and a lot of digital business, and especially software, because I'm mainly involved with that they work from their computer from wherever that they want. And then it's a decision if they want to work remotely in their hometown, in somewhere abroad, or like being on the go like I am at the moment.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's interesting to see the different types of obstacles that you might come across. So within your coaching sessions and when helping people develop their businesses, do you find any common obstacles, or do you see a lot of reoccurring problems, and do you use the same techniques to kind of help that?
So what I've identified like as a pattern when it comes to people like having their own business, I see that a lot of people, they don't really create solid business plans. So I'm working with so many people that they have been running their business for a while and they have never identified their financial goals. They haven't worked in their money mindset. They don't have an execution plan. They're lacking those links to identifying the talent or the help they need. Sometimes people even have a business and they don't identify the budget that they need to reinvest going there. So what my number one advice would be, create a very solid business plan. It doesn't have to be a 5-year in-depth business plan, but at least a high level, 6 months to a year, like outline of your actions, of your goals, of identifying your audience, and really focusing on building your personal brand.
Yeah, that's an interesting different kind of, I guess, obstacles you come across and patterns that you see. I think a big issue in or with digital nomads can be them facing loneliness, always moving around and kind of maybe not always having a community.
Yes, so to take on like the loneliness word, it's something that's it happens in our like modern society, even with like not being a digital nomad. But yes, I can identify with that because you're changing constantly. And even though you're building relationships, I'm now in a co-working space, in a nice like location, and meeting with people, but this means that like next week I'm going to meet like different people. So it all goes back to, how do you get a sense of community? And the answer, it may be different for everyone. And what is that makes you feel fulfilled and happy? Because if you don't answer like these questions, you really don't know what to do in terms of like loneliness. Like, I identify, where does this like come from, and how do you experience it? And if there is like loneliness in your life, you can go on the other side and think, when was a time that you didn't feel lonely? What was happening then? What did you have that you don't have now? And how can you get it while being in different locations and on the go?
And I guess, if you don't mind me asking, it's a bit of a personal one for you. Have you ever experienced that loneliness, and kind of how have you overcome that?
Yeah, I did experience loneliness, and I have like this very recent example. I was in Greece for the summer. I was like working remotely and taking a break as well. I was also there with my family, and then I went back to Amsterdam. And even though I have a lot of friends in Amsterdam, and you cannot say that I'm just like, yeah, I have no one there, I did feel a little bit lonely. What did I do? Of course, I'm always really reflecting on what is it that is there like bugging me. There must be a trigger. I think that I've like, at that point, I felt that I'm alone in the way that I'm doing things. I'm just like starting my business like by myself. I don't have sometimes someone to look up to. I have to like figure out everything by myself. And this gave me like a feeling of, okay, like I'm alone in this one, etc. I have a lot of practices. First of all, I'm identifying my limiting beliefs around something that, oh, I like it. What is it there? Do I feel insecure about something, or is it like a safety thing? Does it have to do with like the sense of like confidence in myself? I'm always exploring. Meditation is helping me. I actually I've joined like I've used few meditation apps, and I did also some meditations around self-love to ease that. And again, identifying what like makes me happy. So I knew that, okay, being somewhere warm helps me, like ease that. Why? I don't know. Maybe when I'm locked down in my house and it's like 5 degrees outside,
Yeah.
I don't feel well. Like maybe it has to do with my mood as well. And reach out for help. When you're not feeling great, it's okay to share it with the people around you. Maybe you also don't feel like doing something or going out, communicate. It's great to see that there is so much, people are willing to help you way more than you think sometimes. So connect, and there are amazing initiatives like, for example, here, the Digital Nomads community. You have so many people that they're on the same boat, and just by labeling sometimes the emotion, it really helps you like overcome it. And it's okay. Sometimes when you're feeling that, we're afraid to say, just by labeling an emotion in psychology, this helps you like to experience it and then let it go. It's like, okay, I feel lonely today. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't mean that people don't love you in this world or it's something wrong with you. It's
Yeah.
just an emotion and it just needs to be experienced.
For sure, yeah. I guess on that note, I'm going to ask you one last question. What advice would you give to someone who's perhaps a bit afraid or not sure about taking the leap into becoming a digital nomad and kind of setting up their own business?
Mm-hmm. I would say start small, start exploring and figuring out what it is that you like. You don't have to leave for a 6-month trip like straight away. Just go for a week somewhere, see how you like it. And when it comes to starting your own business, it all goes back to why do you want to do that? So if you really need to figure out what your purpose is and what your mission is and what you really aim to do with like your business, and this will really help you to also believe that. If you don't believe in your cause, how do you expect others to buy your service or to believe in what you do? So sit back, write down some of your options, some potential obstacles, and set a way forward. That is a very nice also coaching exercise. It's called Grow. So set your goal for your business, do a reality check. VR stands for reality. Note down all of the options that you have and potential obstacles for that business that you want to create, and set a way forward. There is no limitation to the ways that you can go into starting a business. You can quit everything, go for it. You can do it step by step. You can ask for help, get some advice. That's always beneficial.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us. I think that will bring us to the end of today's session. So thank you very much. If anyone is interested in asking you more questions or perhaps taking part in one of your coaching sessions, where is best for them to get in contact with you?
So you can either reach out to me on Instagram, Sofia Life and Business Coach. I made it like easy for people to find me. And my website is www.sofiakakkava.com. I'm launching also my first online masterclass. It's an online coaching program, self-taught, based on a workbook that I have created with my favorite exercises and tools for people to change the way they think, and has to do with goal setting, creating healthier habits, and having work-life balance. It's called Hack Your Mindset. I'm also offering a 70% off for the community. You can find all the details on your platform, or you can reach out to me directly and I'll guide you moving forward.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So thank you very much for joining us today, Sofia, and thank you for everyone that took part and asked questions. Next week, I will be speaking with Anya Schwetz, who is a cryptocurrency consultant. So if anyone is interested in learning about cryptocurrencies, she's really good for beginners. Then join me next Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. So thanks again, Sofia. And
thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Safe travels to everyone there. Bye.